Alright guys, this is Sawyer, and we're doing another one of these random, videos where I'll pull some random books out of my collection, kind of showcase them a little bit. Um, First off, we have Deathstroke, no, sorry, not Deathstroke, Deadlock number 5, or Deathlock number 5. Deathlock's kind of like an underutilized character. I mean, yeah, he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the first couple seasons, but, other than that, he really doesn't get used like in the whole, TV movie world very much. And really not even that much in comic books, but he's a pretty cool character. I like him. Um, Next we have Marvel 2-in-1, the Thing, and the Mummy, the Living Mummy. Sorry, number 95. I don't really know much about the Living Mummy. I just know it's one of those kind of like 70s, 80s monster Marvel characters, kind of like the Werewolf by Night and Dracula. Marvel was doing a lot of horror monster stuff during that time. So yeah, you got one of those team ups with Thing teaming up with them because Marvel did a whole series where Thing would just team up with different characters every issue. And then we have Ultimate X-Men number 44, pretty cool little beast cover. Nothing too special about that one. Not really a big fan of the whole Ultimates comic line, but some of them are kind of interesting. Then we have Legion of Superheroes number 304. If you watch enough of my videos, you'll notice that I'm a huge Legion of Superheroes fan. At least I used to be. When I was younger, I used to pick up all kinds of back issues and stuff for them. I just enjoyed them. For some reason, I enjoyed them as like the teenage superheroes that were guardians of the space. It is cool to see them in Supergirl now, because if you keep up with Supergirl, you would know that Legion of Superheroes is a thing in that universe. They haven't really shown them, but they've been referenced in a couple episodes. And we do have Saturn Girl in the show right now, and Mon-El, but that's about it for the members. Then we have Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld, number 1. This is the first issue of a 12-issue maxi series. Marvel and DC used to do a lot of maxi series back in the day, like in the 80s or whatever. They used to do a lot of these 12-issue miniseries, trying to showcase new ideas, new characters, see if they were popular or not. They would give them about 12 issues to see if they would be popular. They were usually self-contained storylines. So the way it would work is like if if the storyline was popular enough, it was always left a little open so they could continue it. But if it wasn't popular, they could just it was a good ending. You could just end it where it was. So this is one of the ones that was actually a little bit more popular, and they made a title later. And she stayed around for a while. But I like these for some reason. When I was younger, I used to pick a lot of these up. There was a flea market in my town, and they used to have a lot of these laying around. I used to just come and get them. So for a while, I had the whole series. Well, I think I was missing like one issue because there was like 1 or 2 issues that that flea market didn't have. But I really did like this series. It had a pretty cool villain, pretty interesting little world. It was very, very high fantasy, magic and sorcery type stuff, or sword and sorcery type stuff. Um, and it had like a very prominent female lead. It was kind of like a Shazam thing, because there's this little girl. She's a little girl in our world. When she went to Gemworld, she became like an adult woman who was like this warrior princess, magic user, who was the princess of the Gemworld by rightful birth or whatever. So it kind of had a Captain Marvel Shazam thing going on, where it was a kid, but she could become something greater, and that appeals to a lot of people, especially younger people. In this case, younger females. It definitely would cater to them. So very, very interesting character for the whole I guess female audience, comic book audience back in the 80s. I'm sure they loved this. So moving on, we have Venom Space Knight number 8. This is just like a random issue that I found for like at Books A Million for $1. You can see right there. So every once in a while, I go to my local Books A Million, and sometimes they have like random older back issues from like 90s or 80s. It's never anything too valuable or old, but sometimes they have stuff in the last 10 or so years. And but then they also have they also put a lot in their newer books, like on discount. And the only reason sometimes you can get some good stuff there, because sometimes they have like these variant covers, like the fried pie variants. You can get those for $1. Sometimes they'll mark them down, and that's really cheap for those, because I think those retail like $7-8 usually. Just normal retail, and they put them. And whenever they don't sell, they'll put them down like super cheap. So, if you have a Books A Million around your town, check them out. Sometimes you can get cool variant covers there, and other stuff. But yeah, this is This isn't a variant cover. This is just a Venom Space Knight. I thought the cover was kind of cool. It was $1. I like to pick up dollar books from over there. His Books A Million is known for being kind of pricey, so if you can get, I just keep clearance stuff when I'm there. Next up, we have Robin number 19. When I was little, I used to really like these Robin books. Something about the Boy Wonder, I liked them. And, you know, a lot of people really love Dick Grayson, but Tim Drake was my Robin. That was the Robin I grew up on. That was the Robin that was mainly in the cartoons when I was growing up. That was the Robin that the comic books were focused around when I was growing up. So that's just the Robin that I associated with. You know, I love his little bow staff and his little gadgets and gizmos. He was more of like a if I remember right, he was more of a techie Robin. Like he was more of a scientific, you know, not scientific, but he was more of a tech, you know, Robin. He was good with computers and all that stuff. So that was always the Robin I liked. I mean, Dick Grayson's cool too. I'm not gonna hate on the Nightwing Dick Grayson fans, but you know, Tim Drake is where it's at for me. Next up, we have Legion of Superheroes, number 302. You know, just a classic Legion of Superheroes. You know, Lightning Lad versus Lightning Lord cover. They're brothers. They both have kind of the same power set. They're basically the same character, except one's evil and one's good. So, you know, cool cover featuring them fighting each other. A bunch of lightning effects going on in that cover. A bunch of yellow. Really kind of cool, you know, use of yellow right there and the popping of it. You know, it really pops out. It's definitely a cover that will stand out if it's on a bookshelf or, you know, newsstand or whatever. Next up, we have Jonah Hex, number 28. I really like these old Jonah Hex books. I try to get them whenever I can. This one's kind of beat up, so I got it for pretty damn cheap. But I love this cover. It's just kind of one of those stereotypical like 70s Western covers. You know, I don't know if you can read the word bubble, but it's basically like, you know, he's like this guy he's trying to get saved. He's like, please, Jonah, you can't let a white man die. Just for that, which that dialogue's hilarious. And then Jonah's like, yeah, I'm gonna let him kill you for what he did to his son or whatever, kid. I don't know, that word means kid, I think. But yeah, it's just a really silly cover. Like, like the white guy's like, please, you can't let me die. And Jonah's like, I don't care what color you are. You did that man wrong. I'm gonna let him kill you. So it's a cool cover. Next we have Command 9 number 2. This is from the 1990s reboot thing they did of Command 9. I don't think it was very popular. At World's End. I bought this as part of a lot from newcadia.com, which is a website I use every now and then. I haven't used them in probably a year or so, but I use a website I use every now and then to buy some books. They have really cheap books. I mean, nothing really. They don't really, and they have some good stuff. They do have some keys and stuff, but you'll pay for those, obviously. But they do have some cool, you know, dirt cheap, like 25 cents, 30 cents books that you can get off there. You know, it's usually 90s stuff, or it's usually like stuff that isn't very popular, like, you know, like maybe like Impact Comics, or it's publishers that weren't very successful. So if you like just getting cheap fringe books, then that's the place to go. newcadia.com, try them out. They have tons of like backlog stuff, and they sell a lot of people's collections on there. Like, a lot of people will get their collections on consignment on there, and they'll have like all these different books on there. And the longer the book stays on their service or like on their inventory, the cheaper it will be. So like you can look through like 20 like say you can look through 20 copies of this book, and if there's one that's been there for like 16 months versus one that's been there for 8 months, the 16-month one's going to be probably like 20% off or something like that, more than the other one. So it's definitely a cool site to kind of compare and, you know, to dig. You know, if you really want to just dig around on a website looking for dirt cheap books, Newcadia is where to go. Next up, we have Wildcats, number 21. Just a generic Image Wildcats 90s book. I don't like those 90s Image books. I hate the art. Like, I know the art was at the time was all the rage and it was super popular, but I do not like the art. I think they're ugly. Yeah, that's just me. And then we're gonna finish this issue off, or this episode off. I just call them the issue because it's the comic book key. We're gonna finish this episode off with a nice, really old school MD issue number 2. This is from This is from EC Comics, not DC. EC, which was a really big comic book company. Like in the Golden Age, they were like one of the tyrants, or not tyrants, but titans. That's what I meant to say. They were one of the titans of the comic book industry. Mostly known for their very gritty, dark horror comics. And you know, as some of you comic book guys might know, there was, you know, they had that big controversy like in the 50s, I believe, whenever, you know, they were banning comic books, they were having hearings because people in Congress thought that comic books were, you know, corrupting the youth, and they were a problem, and so they started like burning comic books. And one of the big publishers that was, I guess you could say like one of the big reasons why the government thought that this was happening was because the EC Comics was just known for putting out really graphic covers, and there wasn't a rating system. There wasn't a rating system back then, so kids were just buying these like graphic covers with, like, you know, severed heads and stuff, and parents were like, "Oh my God, that's too dark." And which I kind of understand that, you know, like, especially back then. I mean, some of those covers are very damn, what's the word I'm looking for? Very weird and very dark, even to this day. So I understand that. So yeah, EC Comics is, you know, one of those. So they suffered the most. I mean, all the comic book companies suffered from this thing, but EC suffered the most. I think they eventually just completely went out of business. I think they were bought by maybe DC or something. I don't know. But during the 50s, they had to kind of change their game plan. They had to change what they were doing with their comic books. So instead of doing horror comics, they were, as you can see here, it says new direction, bold new direction or whatever. They had to start doing a lot of like procedural books, because that was kind of what was selling at the time. So they started doing these like medical books, these police books, you know, love stories, westerns. That's all that kind of stuff was really popular at the time. But the only problem was every company was doing it because that's what was selling. So it kind of got, you know, the market was just overflooded with westerns and romance and cop stuff. So yeah, that's the end of the comic book history lesson for today, guys. As always, like, comment, subscribe. If you guys like this video, if you thought this video was interesting, you know, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share on your social media places. And as always, stay cool, guys.